So, um, back at it again with the bored at work vlogs, I guess. I just had a thought about something. I was just thinking about something because recently someone was like, "What's the worst that could happen? This?" And like usually, like I hear a lot of people say like, "What's the worst that could happen if you like ask someone out?" They say no, and I'm like, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about something. It reminded me of something that happened to me, and that something slightly worse happened. Back in freshman year of high school, I had a crush on this dude, and I knew that me and him were not something that was gonna happen. I knew that he was not like he was visually my type, but personality, no way. Like no. He I'm more of a shy, stay back, blend in, observer, nerdy type, and he was a very outgoing, ASB, sporty, popular, rich kid type. And so I knew deep down in my heart that nothing was ever gonna happen between us. And like, I was very new to this school, so I didn't know how he was as a person. I just knew that he looked good. I just had a crush on his face. So I was content with just having a, admiring from afar at this pretty boy. But apparently I kept talking about him a lot. And so my dad was like, just ask him out. What's the worst that could happen? He says no. And I was like, I guess you're right. And so I went and, I didn't ask him out. I devised a plan that my friend would ask him out for me. I told her to go to, we all had 6th period together, me, my friend, and him. And, a whole bunch of other people. But, us 3 had that class together. We were all in that area at the same time every day. So, I told my friend, I asked my friend if she could tell him that I liked him, and then asked him if he wanted to hang out. And she forgot that last part. And what I learned was, don't just tell someone that you like them. Ask them, do you want to hang out sometime? Because especially in school, you tell someone, I have a crush on you, it's kind of like, they'll go like, okay? And I've actually been on that end too. People have told me, I have a crush on you. I'm like, cool. What do I do? Especially if they don't have a crush on you, it's weird. So ask them out, and if they say no, then they said no. But also, I asked, my friend pulled him aside and told him that I liked him, and then he said, from what I saw, he said okay. And then they split ways. He went back to his friends. Then my friend came over to me, and I was like, what did he say? And she's like, he said okay. I was like, did you ask him if he wanted to hang out with me later? She's like, oh no, I forgot that. And then I was like, all right, well, maybe we can do that, I guess, maybe next week, because it was Friday. So then I turned to just see what he was doing, see what his reaction of that afterwards was. And I caught him telling half of the class, because they were all friends, him going up there quietly, but I knew he was talking about me, because he turns and points at me, and some people looked over and giggled, and they all knew. And I was fuming. I was like, my crush was immediately gone. I don't care how cute he was. That was a dick move. And so all my friends usually congregated by the door by the end of class. So I went over to my group of friends, and I had to pass him in order to get there. And it took so much of me to not smack him on the back of the head. I'm not a very violent person, so that's why I didn't do that. I didn't want to start anything. But that happened. And then him and his friend ooh, I hate his friend. Ugh. The dude, like, redeemed himself later in high school. He became a nicer dude, like, less immature. But the other friend just kind of was not nicer. And so, later, like, after I passed them all, his friend came over and he was like, hey, do you like so-and-so? Do you like, I'm not gonna say names, I guess. Not that anyone would know who I'm talking about. But he's like, hey, do you like that guy? And I'm like, no. I hate him. I used to like him, but I don't like him anymore. And the dude was like, what? Did you think he was sexy? I'm like, you know what? I don't like him anymore, so it doesn't matter. Leave me alone. And I was fuming a lot. Like, red face, hard breathing. As soon as the bell rang, I bolted. I was out of that door. I was so frustrated. I wasn't gonna cry, but it's like, how could someone be so rude? And so, as I was walking up the stairs and the ramp out of the school, like, they were going by, and the dude and his friend, they were both like, are you sure you don't like him? And he was like, are you sure you don't like me? I'm like, I'm sure, leave me alone. And I was just pissed off. And then, like, for like a whole month after that, every Friday they would do something. Like, I had to sit across from him in another class. Fucking, yeah. And he, like, we were reading Romeo and Juliet, and he read for Romeo at one point, but then he told the girl next to him, like, that girl in front of us likes me. I could hear them. And then she's like, oh my god, what if she read for Juliet? And he's like, oh my god, no. And I'm like, I was looking at them like, really? And at that point, I didn't like him anymore. So, yeah. I'm just looking, I might have to go. And... okay. Yeah. So, like, and then my brothers decided to get involved and tell the principal. And, like, it was slight bullying. It was very rude. But it wasn't, like, scarring. And it might seem I'm, like, really upset about it now. But just here's some advice. Like, just be careful and really know who you're gonna go up to. Way later, I was talking with my friend about Josh Groban, because he was, like, my favorite at the time. This was, like, a couple months later, and she had never heard of Josh Groban, and I was like, what? You haven't heard of Josh Groban? And he turned around, the dude that I used to like, he's like, oh my god, I love Josh Groban, he's amazing. I'm like, you love Josh Groban? Wow, I didn't expect that out of you. And just, for me, as a shy person, if ever I talk to someone, I'm like, I don't feel like we're on the same level, or if I, like, if I don't like someone, or I don't know. If there's certain people that if I talk to them, I'll just blush afterwards because I'm not used to talking to them. Or, like, I don't feel like I'm, like, worthy of talking to them. That's weird, but me, as someone with an inferiority complex, I'm very shy. And even working this job is hard sometimes, but I will blush. I will turn into a tomato if, like, there's some weird thing going on. But I had still, like, disliked him at this point. And then my face got all red, and my friend was like, oh my god, do you like him? He heard. He told his other friend. And then they came back over, and he's like, the rude friend was like, do you like him? I'm like, no! I already told you, we've been through this before. I told you this a long time ago. No! And I was really pissed. And then, yeah, and then later I started dating someone, and the same dude came up. He's like, I thought you liked this guy. And I'm like, no, I'm dating this guy now. Get away from me. Yeah, so just, I guess, be careful of who you talk to. Just know who you're talking to and know who you're going to ask out. Especially in high school and middle school, I guess, too. Oh, man, very immature people are out there, and y'all need to be careful. And I guess if that happens, then so what? Other people know. But it's just the fact that they also kept bugging me about it for, like, weeks and weeks. So, there, that's my thought of the night.